You are beating hedge funds, professionally managed money on Wall Street. Fuck you guys. And Jigs, without revealing too much, of course, it's your strategy. We've spoken a lot about this privately, but essentially you have a list of different metrics that you can follow, which are data points, and you collect them together. And you have a bit of custom code that you have input into TradingView. And so you basically have this pretty sophisticated kind of alert system, which basically identifies for you, A, where in the cycle we are, but also B, like, are we oversold? Are we overbought? And it basically helps to cut all the noise out. And it's like straight away, within a few seconds of checking your charts, you know exactly whether or not it's something that you need to do anything about. So I wonder if you could share some more details about that, or if you'd be willing to.
Yeah, sure.
As to like what goes into. You don't have to share every secret part of the mix, so to speak. But it's to me, it's. I mean, this is what Bitcoin's all about in many ways. It's an incredible story of self-learning, where you've just gone down this rabbit hole. You had this problem you wanted to solve for yourself. You've iterated again and again and again, and you've come up with, in my opinion, I mean, you are beating hedge funds, professionally managed money on Wall Street. Fuck you guys. Like, you know, you're competing without a doubt.
Yeah.
And the fun part is whenever I say to you, it's like, we should start a fund. You're like, I don't want to manage anyone's money. And I think that's a great point. Like, we just got to be fine on ourselves, right? And take accountability for our own things and, you know, enjoy time with our families. But if you could share more details about how this system actually works for you, that would be really cool.
Sure. Okay. So when I did Steve's courses, he talked a lot about the power of three. And this really resonated with me because always with my kids, I just say, like, just try it 3 times. And if you don't like it 3 times, that's cool. You know, and they'll try. It's always about the power of threes. So for me, when I run, if it's not fun, or if I'm doing anything, in fact, if it's not fun, then there's no point in doing it. And fun is always at the top of my pyramid. So I always have fun at the top of my pyramid. And for me, it stands for, you know, power of three. It's 3 letters. Stands for freedom. You must give me freedom. It must be unique, and it must be nourishing for me. You know, that's like, it's like a poem, you know. And so if I was making a lot of money, but it wasn't fun for me, and it was taking away time from my family, well, then I wouldn't do it, right? So the whole name of this game for me is, it must be fun for me to accumulate the most pristine asset on this planet in our lifetime, which is Bitcoin. Just because I'm accumulating it doesn't mean that I should be paying as much tax as I can. So one of the things in my strategy is I must never sell within 12 months, or I must never close a position within 12 months. That brings a 36% tax rate down to an 18% tax rate. That's a 50% discount, you know. And we all know that Bitcoin generally goes up in 3 years, up for 3 years, and then down for 1 year, just roughly. So in that trading window, or that bull cycle window, I'd probably get 2 opportunities to maybe close out a trade or take a position again or anything like that. And so I have multiple overlays which go over the chart and over the price, right? I have multiple overlays that are looking for a time window. I also am looking for one with a block rewards window. And I'm also looking for one that has a moving average window based on Fibonacci sequence. So that's just on the overlays, on your overlays. Then in your oscillators, which are indicators down the bottom of a chart, I'm looking for things like the stochastic RSI, money flow, a number of other things. You know, I probably have close to 15 different indicators, all looking for confluence, right? And when they all line up through what I call a blueprint, where you take all these different blueprints and you throw them all on top of each other and you get this sweet spot. And that's what I'm looking for. And so that is, you talked about what must I buy, why must I buy it? And that's where you're really good. You're really good at understanding that information. Like, what are the fundamentals of that? And that is your what must I buy? I'm very good at the technical analysis of when, right? And so I can find those spots. And like you were saying before, that I was looking at the 5-minute chart and stuff like that. Well, I now have zoomed out from looking at the daily, looking at the 3-day, looking at the weekly. I'm now in a 2-week to 1 month to 2 month time frame that I'm looking at for stuff.
Wow.
I've really zoomed out. And so all the other noise that happens in the middle, stuff that's happening now, whatever it is, it really does not faze me. I mean, my father-in-law rings me up all the time going, Jigsy, it's up. Oh my God, it's down. Are you okay? And I'm like, I couldn't care less. Because again, another interesting little story. We spoke about how I invested $4,500 to get me to where I am. I don't know how to write code, but I know a lot of people do. And there's a lot of people in countries that get paid peanuts and they can write code just as good as someone in a first world country. And so I went on an app called Fiverr. I put out a post on there saying, listen, I'm looking for someone who can write code on TradingView. A bunch of people reached out to me. I selected a guy from, I think he was in I can't remember right off the top of my head, but it's something like...
you told me Bulgaria or something.
Yeah, something like that, Ukraine or something, something like that. And so anyway, I said to him, yes, please, can you do it? I told him exactly what I needed. I said, when this, and this happens, I need an alert. And it gives me an alert. And then I said, when this, and this happens, I need another alert. Now, the first alert is just waking me up saying, hey, get ready. The second alert generally happens 6 days later. And that's for me to pull the trigger. So I've got 6 days roughly to get all my funds, move things around, get ready. And then I get a confirmation. Then I pull the trigger. And then I just sit again. And I wait for 3 years or 12 months, whatever it is, for these things to happen again, to the downside or the upside. And I just action it again. So I can be on the other side of the planet, on a boat. I just need internet reception. And I get a notification on my phone, just like you get a text. And it's letting me know. And I think that, again, is just how I value time. Instead of sitting in front of a computer for half an hour a day or an hour a day.
It takes me back to that example you gave of the male and female runner that were very consistent in your running group. And essentially you've got these training rails and you're looking at a price of an asset and you've built a buy and sell button, and the buy and sell buttons both require a series of different things to all be happening at the same time for it to be now's the time.
Yeah.
And so unless all of those things are happening, confluence, as you said, exactly, or convergence is another good word. Unless all these metrics are saying, yep, go, 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 then you don't do anything. And that's discipline. That's strategy. That is not being driven by emotion. And it's really, really, it's really impressive. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
Thank you. And I think the most and biggest lesson I've learned is the emotion side, because even in running, when you take off in a marathon, you have a plan. Like Mike Tyson says, you have a plan until you get punched in the face. And you can take off and say, I want to run this pace. But the race gets around you and the emotion of other people running around you. And all of a sudden, you don't realize that you're running faster than your plan. And now you're overcooking yourself for the back end of the race. And this is where this female runner named Haley and Michael, who's the male runner, have been instrumental in me being a good runner, because they've taught me how to have a plan, stick to it no matter what, and trust the process, because at the back end, it'll pay off. So you have to, as much as you and this is why people shouldn't go on Twitter and just gorge on all the information on Twitter, because it affects your emotions and your thinking. And I mean, I could potentially go on there and do that, and it wouldn't affect my thinking, because my strategy is so sound that who cares what I think? The strategy's in play, and I can't do anything about it. And if it fails, I can blame the strategy. I can't blame myself for getting sucked into reading this article or that article or listening to this person.
I mean, it's essentially it's all meaningless. So the watch what they do, not what they say. A classic often I hear it really in the kind of political world, but it's true here. It's like, it really doesn't matter, oh, Trump's made the difference and that's why the Bitcoin price has gone up. It's like, who cares? It literally doesn't matter in this case. Is the price where it is? Yes or no? Yes, it is. Okay. What do my indicators say? Am I, interested? No. Right now, just go back to doing what I was doing, which is essentially, you've got your time back.